Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show, brought to you by Glory Days South Jersey Magazine. Mac, Trip. It's a little bit different feel here today, guys. This episode has been
No computer.
no computer, a little bit up close and personal. We had to record this on Tuesday afternoon to accommodate the Phillies and schedules and all that, but we'll be sure to touch on every public game in the South and Central brackets today and take a look too at the non-pub playoffs as well. Mac, it's a little bit different, but hey, man, when there's all these good things happening sports-wise in the area, it's not a bad thing to have to adjust.
High school playoffs, 70-degree weather, Phillies playing, World Series, Eagles on Thursday. When everybody's watching this, hopefully the Phillies are up 2-1 in the series and getting ready for to win Game 4 at home. So we hope tonight we'll see what happens and a good start. But we're live. We're live.
We're live right now.
We're not fake.
The other thing that's weird, Mac, is that we were planning to go at this time, and both of us were headed to the game on Monday.
Yes.
And we're still going at this time because the schedule got moved around, but some things never change. So it is what it is.
We kept our original schedule. We just didn't tell everybody else about it. And thankfully, Rod could accommodate. So
right.
We've been we're able to do our parts.
Yeah. Well, let's do our parts. And first, we appreciate your understanding and making sure to still tune in. We'll be back live next week. Let's get right into it, Mac. The Atlantic Chrysler Dodge Jeep Fiat Ram game of the week.
Hold on, people can still comment, right? Right? Somehow, like they can.
Sure.
They can
do whatever you want.
Because someone's gonna. I know I'm gonna get corrected, but I can't address it till next week.
That's right.
I'm not ignoring. Right. I'm not ignoring the correction because I'm gonna screw up somewhere. I would think over the next hour.
Well, maybe.
I tend to always. Maybe a year or two somewhere on something. But
yeah, maybe.
There you go.
We'll see.
Maybe, possibly. Right.
When we look at the game of the week, Mac, last week, we had Atlantic City and Rancocas Valley. This was the Atlantic Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat game of the week. The Vikings take this one 32-28. It was a wild game, Mac. They get their first playoff win since 2012. Sinai Ice Cup DeGraffenreid. We talked about him all year here and what he's done. You've seen some of the knots of the week that Atlantic City has had. He catches 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, including the game winner on a fade route with 47 seconds left, as Atlantic City gets that win and prevails in Central Jersey Group 5, the playoffs. They were the 5 seed coming in to Mount Holly. RV was a 4 seed. Ice Cup has 178 yards receiving. Joe Lyons, 17-27 passing for 264. Alan Packard ran for 188 yards. Saw him have a 99-yard touchdown run. It was incredible on his first carry. He also had a 79-yard kick return for touchdown. This was a big game for Atlantic City. We knew coming in and the historical ramifications of seeking their first playoff win in a decade. RV2 was trying to get off on the right foot in terms of that new regime. And Coach Keenan Wright and the Vikings take the long trip up. And man, they look pretty impressive. They never back down.
Right. And like, kudos to Coach Wright. I mean, you're coming in, haven't had a playoff win in 10 years, playing at Rancocas. We talked about this last week about, we were joking, bet the over, right? We kind of knew that it would be this type of situation.
Yeah.
Great game, obviously, with a final touchdown in the final minute. Look, they're a dynamic football team. They can score, and you start feeling good about yourself. They're gonna have to be a road show, obviously, but getting that first playoff win under your belt as a team and in the journey, it's always a great feeling. I'm sure they felt that's any bus ride after a win's a good bus ride, especially when you got to go head down the Garden State Parkway.
It's not a close drive for them. But you know what? I mean, in seeing the way that they played, it brings up an interesting matchup next week that we'll preview towards the end of the show there in Group 5. But I was impressed with the way, they're down by 8 points. They score. They don't get the 2. And they had to stand tall on defense. They did that. They got the ball and went right down the field. I mean, and just like this, boom, 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 hit. Moved it down, and DeGraffenreid has certainly lived up to the hype. I mean, he's 6'1", he's a sophomore, can high point that ball. When he goes up, it's his or it's nobody's. A little bit like A.J. Brown on Sunday, and he's got that type of ability to not only elevate, but to play that ball. There were a couple fades they threw to him that went incomplete, but there were none that were in any danger of being intercepted.
Well,
he
right.
either knocks it away or he catches
Well,
it.
when you tell the quarterback, when you got a kid that you can throw to like that, you say, look, it's us or nobody. And if you can throw that fade to the outside, on the sideline, on the high point, one thing you don't want to do is underthrow the ball.
Right.
As we used to tell the guys, long ball long, right? Long ball long, short ball short, out ball out.
That's right.
So if you're throwing that fade and it goes out of bounds or it goes over, if you overthrow it, I know if I'm coaching, I'm just let's let it go. Let Ice Cup go get it.
Yeah.
Just let it go. And sometimes quarterbacks don't want to overthrow people, but overthrows just mean second down.
That's right.
So let it go.
That was one of the better games we saw in the first round. We saw some crazy upsets. We saw some incredible stats. We saw a whole lot of stuff, and we're going to kind of infuse that into the previews that we have moving forward here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here in a second. We're going to come back with the review and preview of the Central and South Jersey brackets in groups 1 through 3. Then we'll take another pause. We'll come back and look at the brackets in South and Central Group 4 and 5, as well as the non-pubs. So sit tight. We'll be back here in a second to talk about Groups 1 through 3. A lot of great action as the playoffs continue on into sectional semifinals. So sit tight. We'll be back right after this.
The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is sponsored by Mall Chevrolet on Haddonfield Road. Mall Chevy is South Jersey's largest Chevy dealer and has been a big part in helping our community grow. They're proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. Mall Chevy is our area's go-to dealership with the largest selection of brand new Chevys and a huge inventory of pre-owned vehicles, plus an award-winning 5-star service department. They're located on Haddonfield Road across from the Cherry Hill Mall, or visit them at mallchevy.com. A special thank you to Dave O'Sullivan of South Jersey Glory Days, sjglorydays.com. South Jersey Glory Days brings us a platform that we've been on here for the last couple of years. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show would not be possible without them. Visit Sully's website, sjglorydays.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat. Located on Tilton Road in Egg Harbor Township, it's been a big part in helping the community grow. Proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. Atlantic Chrysler Jeep Fiat. Tremendous selection of brand new cars and pre-owned vehicles. An award-winning service department. A presenting sponsor of the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The show is also sponsored by Jersey Gridiron Scout. Coach Tom Pagic is Jersey Gridiron Scout, the premier recruiting service platform for all middle school and high school prospects in the tri-state area when it comes to football. Jersey Gridiron Scout does 3 things for football prospects. 1, they have a senior showcase in December and an underclassmen showcase in May for high school prospects to be evaluated in front of more than 50 colleges. 2, they have off-season winter indoor position trainings for youth, high school, and college prospects from January to June at the Fieldhouse in Moorestown. And 3, they educate families on the college football recruiting process and timeline. Check out Tom's website at jerseygridironscout.com for more information. Follow him on Instagram at jerseygridironscout and on Twitter at Coach Pagic. That's at Coach P-A-J-I-C. South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Cherry Hill Jeep on Route 70, home of the real zero-down deal. For over 50 years, Cherry Hill Jeep's been a big part in helping the community grow, and they remain proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football.
Welcome back to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. First week of the playoffs are in the books. Let's take a look at what's going to happen in the second week of the playoffs here with a look back at how these teams got here. Let's start in South Jersey Group 1. We got the top seed of Woodbury Thundering Herd at 7-2 are going to host Shore. 6-3 on Saturday at 10:30. Mac last week, Woodbury beat Pensgrove 34-0. Balanced attack. They had 183 yards rushing, 181 yards passing. Anthony Reagan scored twice on the ground. Deron Moore and Brian Johnson each scored on the ground as well. On the year, you look at Woodbury and Johnson. He's thrown for more than 1,500. He's got 18 touchdowns. Reagan's run for 562 and 10 touchdowns. Solomon has 686 receiving and 12 touchdowns. You look at this run-to-pass ratio, it's about 59-41, but they got a lot of guys who can score. Now, Shore went on the road and jumped out to a 23-6 lead against Manville. They come out with that win. It'll be interesting, Mac. This is in Woodbury, 10:30 kickoff. That's a long ride for Shore to kick off so early.
It is. And you hit it when you got a 59-41 spread. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a nice balance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you can do that at the high school level and do it efficiently, and the 113 for 175 pops out. It's not like, I mean, that's really good. Some quick math. I mean, we're in a nice percentage there. So passing-wise. So, and you got to be able to do both. And then when they need to, they can run the ball and control it. And obviously with the goose egg on the board,
right?
They're a really good football team.
It's no secret what Shore wants to do. Their run-pass option so far this year has been 81 run to 19% pass. You know exactly they want to run that wing tee, and they do it well. So they will head to Woodbury.
And look, as we know, wing tee doesn't love coming back. And Woodbury can kind of get it going. Shore's got to slow the tide, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's good. That's good. The other thing, Mac, is that the Shore is similar to Woodstown, whom Woodbury had their way with earlier in the season and is very familiar with. So it's not as if this isn't something where they're going to be caught off guard. They know how to prepare and turn around for this for 1 week.
No, 100%. I mean, Woodbury. It's not like Woodbury's not a team that's going to be in that. I mean, they're not going to be in the 42-38 games.
Right.
I mean, they might put 42 up, but I don't see them giving up 38.
Right. That's South Jersey Group 1, 1-seeded Woodbury against 5th-seeded Shore. 2nd-seeded Asbury Park at 5-2 is going to play they're going to host 3rd-seeded Maple Shade, who's 8-2. We have this Friday at 6 as of right now, but I know Asbury Park does play on Saturday, so you want to make sure you check out exactly what time that kickoff is. Maple Shade quarterback Nate Vesey last week went 15-22 for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns. All 3 of the passing touchdowns were in the first quarter to make it 21-0 en route to a 34-7 rout of South Hunterdon. Nico Santor grabbed 7 of those passes for 130 yards and 2 scores. Vesey also ran for 52 and a score. It might be Vesey. Either way, he's doing a heck of a job. Asbury Park scored 27 unanswered after being down 7-0 to Pittman. They rolled 54-21. They got 2 knots, a kickoff return, and a pick 6. Deshaun Carter ran for 3 touchdowns for the Bishops. Here we go. This is Shore Conference, West Jersey Football League. It's something we'll touch on, Mac. We've touched on it all year, all playoff season last year, the year before, and now here it is again. Shore Conference, South Jersey, 2-seed, 3-seed, Maple Shade headed to Asbury Park.
Well, we've, our allegiance tends to be obviously South Jersey, West Jersey Football League. Over the years, Shore has put out some tough football teams. I mean, so again, it's another step for these guys, and it's getting to that, winning this, getting to the sectional final seems to be that getting preliminaries this past week, as we're talking about, and getting that sectional final is a real cool thing. So it'd be a big jump for Maple Shade's program. Yeah,
in that bracket, you have 2 West Jersey League teams. You have 2 Shore teams. Then when you flip it over to Central Jersey Group 1, you got nothing but West Jersey League. You got number 1 seed in that bracket, Woodstown at 8-1 will host Paulsboro, who's 5-4, Friday night at 7. Woodstown rolled Shalleck in the first round, 45-8. James Hill set the school's single-season rushing mark with 1,538 yards, scored 3 times in the win. Congratulations, James. Max Webb has done what it's taken. He's thrown for 9 touchdowns this year, but Hill certainly is the focal point of the offense. They run it about 80% of the time. They pass very little. Max Webb also leads the defense with 4 interceptions. Paulsboro, on the other hand, hammered Audubon in the rematch. They beat him in the last week of the regular season. They beat him even worse the first round of the playoffs, 42-13. Rocco Pellegrini has his first stat line. 11-17 for 268 and 3 touchdowns. All to Sharif Green. Sharif Green only had 4 catches. 3 of them were touchdowns.
Yeah. If you're putting up that yardage,
75% of the time.
Right. You don't have much. You don't have real far to go. I think Paulsboro. I think early in the season they were they had a little sit down. Mm-hmm. You're hearing some talk that they kind of a little bit say, hey, this is
started 0-3.
Yeah, well, this isn't Paulsboro football. Now, look, they played some teams that sometimes you start 0-3 and you're playing teams that are better than you.
Yeah.
And it's not so much losing the games. It's kind of like, hey, we're not doing the Paulsboro things.
Yeah.
Let's get back to being what we do, Paulsboro football. What you guys have seen down here since you were little kids going to these games on Saturdays. Just can't put on the uniform and say you're a Red Raider, et cetera. You gotta earn that stuff. So I think these guys are, just as you want to be peaking right now. It's good to be, for the next couple weeks.
Woodstown won the first matchup 18-0. It was the first time they'd beaten Paulsboro. It was a big win, but early in the season, again, Paulsboro's been coming on. Another thing to note for them, and I want to thank Chris Baker for digging through some of these stats for the script today, but 52-48, that's about as balanced as it gets, pass and run, right? Paulsboro can do both. We're not going to see that exactly with Woodstown.
No. Again, it was the same. So we talked about it earlier on the show. I mean, you have a team that's going to want to run the ball, control the ball. Woodstown wants to take their shots when they have opportunities. They will. I mean, they can do it efficiently when they. But you can't be. Woodstown's not built to be third and 9. Right. They want to throw the ball 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, play action, etc. Where Paulsboro's gonna. You gotta strap it up for both. I mean, they're gonna take advantage of what you're gonna give them, and whether it be the 2 high safeties and run the ball 1 high. Let's check with me type stuff, and having the ability to do some of those things can be an advantage for those the balanced squads.
Woodstown's a tough place to play. The cowbells will be out and ringing. That place is loud, and they play on Friday nights, 7 o'clock. It is tough to win there. Paulsboro found that out earlier this season, but they'll go back with that experience in their back pocket.
It's nice to go back again to you can clean up some stuff. So we'll see.
Second part of that bracket, Salem. Talk about figuring things out. Went through their schneid. It seems like that is well behind them. Okay, they 6-4, the 2 seed. They're going to host Glassboro Saturday on Walnut Street. They crushed Florence the first round of the playoffs, 42-0. Ja'Kai Coates back in the mix at quarterback. We know what to expect from him. He can run it or pass it. Zaheem Jones can run it. Bundy, Amari Smith on defense. I can't forget my guy Selby on offense either. Now they're going to play a Glassboro team that beats Keyport 18-0. Matt Casatino of NJ.com says Keyport had negative rush yards in that game, in the shutout. Amari Saab, the great freshman, 16 carries, 149 yards, and he had an interception. Jasir Harden ran for 2 touchdowns and grabbed a pick on the year. He and Zavon Burt-Graves have been heavy hitters for them. Amari Saab has 4 interceptions on the season. Glassboro piecing it together, shutting out a team like Keyport, winning up front. The defensive line was key for them, Coach Haggerty and company. The last time these two played was in 2020. Salem won 39-7. A lot has changed for Glassboro since then. They're looking for that signature win in this playoff. They're the decided underdog. They're going down to Walnut Street.
This would be it. I mean, you look at Salem, started out, boom, a little bit of dip. Now they've kind of started to figure stuff back out. So it's, as you said, an upstart Glassboro squad. I know Coach Haggerty is reminding them that this is a seasoned playoff environment, team, etc.
Yeah, and Glassboro has an interesting mix of their top players because they have this youth infusion of top caliber talent.
Yep.
And at the same time, their 2 heaviest hitters this year have been seniors. So it's young and old, right, coming together. The young guys will remember this run and what they learned from it, move it forward. But at the same time, there's guys desperate to get back in that championship.
Yeah, and a balance of that finality of the seniors, and we've touched on the finality of playoffs of, football's ending, where freshmen are just getting it started, and they're thinking, we're going to the playoffs. What else would we be doing? Yeah. So It should be another goodie.
Yeah, so Central Group 1, again, this is exactly what we were kind of thinking last week when we laid this thing out. We got Woodstown hosting Paulsboro Friday night at 7, Salem hosting Glassboro Saturday at noon. That's Central 1. In South Jersey Group 2, Raritan, 7-2, the top seed, will host Pleasantville, 6-2. The fourth seed, Friday at 7 p.m., Raritan cruised to a 34-13 win over Middle Township. Kieran Falzone ran for a trio of scores. Pleasantville was mighty unpleasant for Johnson on Friday night. Marlon Leslie ran for 147, and down 7-6 at halftime, the Greyhounds held Johnson scoreless to win 25-7. Leslie had a 77-yard touchdown run, gave the Greyhounds the lead for good. He also threw a 69-yard touchdown pass as Pleasantville advances. The other side of that bracket got 3-seed Oakcrest, 7-3. I mean, look at what they did over the weekend, Mac. They played Delaware Valley, looked like a pretty good team. They had 14 yards on 26 carries. Oakcrest wins 14-0 for their first playoff win. I think it said in 12 years. Romello Gardner led the effort with 11 tackles. He has 9.5 sacks this season for Coach Forrest and company. Jaleel Williams and Zachary Forrest both ran for scores. Marcus Lee threw for 260. Aldridge Stowe, 150-plus receiving. Oakcrest feeling good about itself, is headed to Rumson Fairhaven. Okay, these teams played in a Group 3 playoff game last year, 37-0 in favor of Rumson.
Yeah,
this year it's in Group 2. It's at Rumson. They won 41-0 over Monmouth. They had 8 different rushers combined to go for 225 yards on 30 carries.
This is a tough chore for Oakcrest, right?
Definitely.
I mean, Rumson's, perennial playoff top seed, et cetera, moving from Group 3 to Group 2. So they're probably one of the largest, if not the largest Group 2 team.
Yeah.
So, I think it shows a little bit about, Oakcrest in the schedule they play, going up and doing what they did at Del Val.
Yeah.
It's when you haven't won a playoff game in a long time, you gotta hope. Coach has to kind of hey, great job, guys, awesome. Can they get over that euphoria of we got to play next week? We got to play a really good team in Rumson.
Yeah, very good and seasoned, and they know what it takes this time of year. Oakcrest hadn't done it in a while, but again, they're in a similar position as Atlantic City. You get that first one under your belt, you got the house money. You're going on the road. Let's see if we can make some noise. So Oakcrest and Pleasantville both excellent jobs winning the first round for South Jersey against non-South Jersey teams. Central Jersey Group 2, the top seed Point Pleasant Borough rolled Overbrook 62-27 last week. We know what to expect from that heavy rush attack. We saw it last year as they played Willingboro in a sectional final. And wouldn't you know it, Friday they're going to play Willingboro again. Willingboro comes in at 4-5. Friday night at 7 p.m. they're going to head to Point Pleasant Borough. They got 277 rushing yards from Derek Bryant last week on 15 carries and 3 touchdowns as they hammered New Providence 52-7. They put up 40-some against Burlington Township the week before. This is a couple games in a row for Bryant with 200-plus. Kamad Rice, Terrell Yankson, Jarrell Taylor all caught touchdowns from quarterback Lamar Best. Willingboro, you talk about clicking at the right time. Coach Everett's group definitely feeling that way. They got up 8-0 early on Point Pleasant Borough last year. They lost 32-8. So they know what they're up against, and they're heading back down for another one of these rematches.
Right, I'm just getting over the yards per carry here at probably close to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know who was tackling them, but I don't know.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's real good. So the formula there is keep giving that guy the ball to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But like you said, Point Pleasant Borough, Willingboro knows this foe. Again, a little bit of, the hard part is if you're Borough, we saw this happen to a couple teams this past, the 9-0 team playing the 4-5, they're like, hold on, they're 4-5, right? Like, coach, they're 4-5. And you turn on the film and you're like, you're trying to explain, guys, these aren't this isn't This isn't how it used to be. They're playing some dudes down there. They're in a tough schedule, tough leagues, tough divisions, etc. So, they're gonna have to strap it on as well. And Burrow can score some points, obviously.
The bottom of that bracket, the 2-seed Haddonfield at 6-2 will host 3rd-seeded Gloucester Friday at 7 p.m. Haddonfield crushed Cinnaminson 35-12. All special teams, Mac, to start this thing off. I know you love when that happens. The Haddons recover a fumble on the first kickoff. They score. They block a punt after the next possession of the Pirates. Next thing you know, they're up 14-0. Patrick Ryan blocked that punt. Later, he'd have a pick 6. Chris Clax with 10 tackles, 2 sacks. Charlie Klaus and Dom Hahn each scored twice on the ground. You look at the way that they played on the year defensively. They've done a great job being opportunistic. Ryan Foley has a trio of interceptions. He had one the other night, too. On the other side of things, Gloucester up front. Demir Finley, we've mentioned in the past, dominant presence on the defensive line. They beat West Deptford 14-0. Mason Jankowski had a dozen tackles. And how about this rushing line for Jake Zierfoss? 35 carries, 179 yards against a West Deptford team that's used to playing in the trenches. Those are pretty good numbers. I got to give a shout-out to Anthony Coleman at NJ.com. He did your job for you. He saluted the line, and rightfully so. Justice Dolson, Caden Elmore, Caleb Wright, Jeremy Smith, Cody Gardzelik, I hope I pronounced that, and, of course, Mason Jankowski. This team is 80-20 in terms of percentile running the ball this year. You know it's going to be Jake Zierfoss. And they're going to go up to Haddonfield, who's much more balanced.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, not of course, but yes.
Traditionally been okay stopping the run in some big playoff games.
Right, you bring up special teams, and I think special teams leans itself back to coaching the whole day, the whole practice, the whole week. It gets very, look, you're dealing with 15, 16, and 17-year-olds, right? When it's time to practice Skelly and throw the football around the yard, yeah, everybody's excited to practice for that 20-minute session or whatever it is. But, getting your kids to do PAT, getting your kickoff return, hands, all that stuff, and the good programs do it. I mean, look, I'm not saying this is a barometer to judge a coach, but look at the bags under his eyes and the bloodshot whites of his eyes. That coach who doesn't sleep typically is the guy who's spending a lot of times up at night trying to figure out how to do the nuances right. Now, we got a guy coaching across the river here that when you see him in his post-game interviews, he doesn't look like he's sleeping much.
Right.
And I have a theory the reason why his kids are on his lap at the press conference is because that's the only time they see him.
That's right.
Over a period of the season. They see Daddy on Sunday for a half hour. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of kidding, but not, those guys, not really. They sleep, so all those nuances of what they do of no stone unturned, and taking advantage of, it's not just, recovering the kickoff and the fumble. It's making sure you get in that red zone and you score when you have that opportunity. It's getting, the knot or getting the pick, the turnover, being plus whatever. My God, the Eagles are plus 14. They're like a high school team right now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Plus 14. Someone said the other day, Romo said during the telecast, I saw it on tape, he said plus 14, that's 2 extra possessions. I wanted to be like, Tony, not only is 2 extra possessions.
Scored on both of them.
And you're taking out basically 100 yards. You haven't the team doesn't punt the ball. So not only plus 2 more possessions, but 100 less yards you have to go. Or let's say 80.
Yeah. Well, and this team to you, Mac, not to get too deep into the pro stuff, but this team to you is a coach's dream in that 2 turnovers through 7 weeks of football. So your turnover differential is always in the green. Look what happens.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that you have coach's son as head coach, coach's son as quarterback. They've seen their dads come home.
Coach's son as co-host.
Don't fumble the ball.
Yeah, don't fumble the ball. Got it. In Group 3,
or protect the ball.
Yeah.
Let's speak in the positive.
In Group 3, the margins could be razor slim, so ball security definitely is going to matter. In South Jersey, Group 3, we got the 1 seed, Delsey, of course, unbeaten, 9-0. They're going to welcome Camden Eastside Friday at 7 p.m. And Delsey rolled past Deptford in the first round, 48-13, had 3 rushing touchdowns from outstanding running back, linebacker Jared Shoppy. Zach Maxwell scored twice on the ground. Luke Maxwell scored as well, and so did Wayne Adair. They are absolutely a multi-headed monster running the ball, and that's what they want to do, and we know that. They've been at the top of South Jersey all season. The Mighty Tigers went up to South Plainfield and came home with a win for South Jersey, 27-6. They handed South Plainfield their first loss of the season. They were down 6-0, but Teron Lloyd's kickoff return tied in the first quarter. Anthony Turlington with a pick six. Willie Love caught a touchdown. Judah Anthony, another touchdown catch from Mekhi Brunson, who went 14-23 for 186 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Roger Brown ran for $124 on 25 carries. The last time these two played, Eastside won in 2019, 36-7. Before that, they had a lot of playoff experience, a lot of familiarity. Tall task for an Eastside team that now is healthy, is fully equipped across their roster. They get to play against the top team in South Jersey.
Well, you have another team they're playing that's undefeated. Again, South Plainsfield, and probably not knowing much about Camden Eastside, knowing, not playing in the same conferences, I should say, not seeing them every day. But so, Marchese, we know, maybe we're a little biased to the Marchese, meaning coach team. I don't think teams are going to sneak up on Delsey. Now, that doesn't mean that Camden Eastside doesn't have the guys to shock them a little bit. Again, this is one where Delsey, they can the Tigers score like on the scoop score, the chunk play type thing, and then kind of get Delsey to chase them a little bit, right? Because once it's like literally the snowball with Delsey.
Yeah.
You roll it and real quick, this thing is knocking you over.
There's no doubt, Mac, and the top of that bracket has an undefeated team, and so does the bottom of the bracket. But Hopewell Valley, who is a West Jersey League team, even though they're not in the traditional 7-county area, the Bulldogs are 9-0. The team they're going to play in the sectional semifinals is Burlington Township, who I don't know how many people expected Burlington Township to do what they did on Friday night. This game is going to be at 7 p.m. at Hopewell Valley. This was South Jersey's upset of the week, definitely the feather in the cap, was Burlington Township winning 34-7 over previously unbeaten Ocean Township out of the Shore Conference. Star quarterback Tyler Douglas missed the game for Ocean with a sprain in his AC joint. But he doesn't play run defense. The Falcons ran for 226, 148 from Naquan Jones in the win. He scored twice. David Schley caught a 74-yard touchdown pass, and he ran for 64 on 9 carries as well. On the season, he leads them in tackles with 95. The last time these two teams played, Hopewell Valley and Burlington Township, it was 27-6 in favor of Coach Madeira and the Falcons in 2017. Hopewell Valley, they beat Mattawan 34-20. Tim McEwen threw for 103 touchdowns. Derek Van Brunt ran 21 times for 146 yards. Something tells me this is going to be a close game despite the records, Mac.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Now, look, you're Ocean Township. I don't know the crew down there too much or over there. Look, losing your quarterback is a kick in the teeth a little bit. So it looks like they were, not to take away from Burlington Township, but Township comes in and pounds the ball on them. Yeah. I mean, that's, and that's a nice way. Township can do it a couple different ways. I mean, again, the dangerous 4 and 6, 7 seed. New season. Hopewell again undefeated. I mean, man, being undefeated is a tough mantle to carry.
And we saw that not only with South Plainfield, but one of the South Jersey teams as well. We'll get to them that fell in the first round despite being undefeated.
Another one.
Yeah. In Central Jersey Group 3, Seneca's the top seed. They're 9-0. They're hosting Highlands, 5-4, Friday at 7 p.m. Seneca put up nearly half 100. They won 47-33 over Somerville. Braden Davis. I don't know what more you want Braden Davis to do. I mean, 13-19 for 260 and 3 touchdowns. He ran for 88 on 22 carries and 2 scores. I mean,
he's the guy.
41 offensive snaps, The ball was in Braden Davis's hands. Zach Fearon had himself a great day, 118 yards receiving, 2 interceptions. One of them is our Knot of the Week. Rod has this thing. Zach Fearon is sitting here against Somerville. Thank you, Coach Fisher, for sending this in. Drop back. Zach says, see ya. Sit now, and pounce.
Now, you know what's nice about this, and Zach, I know Fish we love Fish, but so a lot of times when you tell your guy, if you're gonna go under a ball, under a receiver, make sure you go get it. But look, he knows he has over top help.
Yep.
He knows if he doesn't make that play, he's got the safety over top. So kind of, look, a lot of guys, you have to know when to take that chance, when to come onto the football, when to go get it. Because, sometimes you go get it and you don't, and it's 6 the other way. So, cool play, big win, Seneca. They're just humming, and again they're 9-0, and it's fun to be a Golden Eagle right now.
Yeah, no question. Davis on the year, 1,037 passing yards, 13 touchdowns. He's run for 856 and another 13 touchdowns. Yeah. The guy is absolutely as balanced as it gets at quarterback.
Well, they out of the 22 runs, I didn't watch I'm not watching their whole film, or I don't have access to watch it. But some tells me he's got half of those are probably maybe got design run, which love it. We've talked many times on the show about quarterback run and how hard that is to stop. The geek stuff with the extra gap and the whole bit. But on top of that, you have probably, having this pass game where, Fish is saying, look,
right.
I ran the triple for years at Deptford back in the day. So I'm okay if we're back here and you.
That's what we have to lean on.
If you want to go, go. Because Corby would say, hey, Fish, if you got it, I know you got Billy Williams and Zach Dumas, Ohio State, but if everybody's loading up on the backs. Fish, you might have to go get us 5, 6, 7 yards.
And I would say
this guy's, no offense, Fish, he's moving a little quick.
He's
he's moving, bud.
I would say if I told you your team's going to win a playoff game where your quarterback runs 22 times for 88 yards, what do you think the score of that game's going to be? I don't think you think you're scoring 47.
No, I don't.
It speaks to all the things they have moving in terms of defensively. We saw the knot.
Yes.
Field position, turn them over. Special teams, Davis throwing it, running it. It just, I think when you look at stats isolated, it's tough to get the whole picture. But Braden Davis is giving you the whole picture. And then look at who he's got. This is another one. This is who's coming to town is Highland, former colleague, of course, of Fish, Brian Leary. Massive upset win on Saturday.
Triton World, yeah.
Another big one.
Yeah.
They beat the Shore Conference's Manasquan 32-7. Efficiency, Connor Leary 10-13, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. Son of a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Team also ran 41 times for 227. Nehemiah Butler-Mayhew had 103 and a score. Angelo Rodriguez ran for 121 and 2 touchdowns. Avant Stewart, the star receiver, 5 catches for 107 and 2. And you look at the way this team is operating. We talk about Davis and Fearon for Seneca. But Leary, Butler-Mayhew, Rodriguez, and Stewart for Highland. I mean, there's a lot of interesting weapons that might not be your household names in South Jersey football. It's maybe not the guys you hear a certain host and co-host bring up every week. But now, I mean, this is an exciting matchup.
We started, look, Seneca last week, they were opening eyes all year, and then 2 weeks ago it was like, hold on, this is now. If you're Highland, with the 6-4 or 5-4, you're now the record. Okay, Seneca, we got a chance to go to Seneca, new turf field. It's a cool environment. They'll have all, the Eagles Nest, the whole bit. Which, as an opposing team. Some teams like that stuff. Yeah. Some teams like to go into that environment as that opposing team. So,
I think the way they performed at Manasquan on Saturday shows the Tartans love going in.
Yeah, they got no problem with it. Now, and also they'll tell you. I mean, they're in their little circle. I'm not privy to it, but they're saying, we've played some dudes.
Yeah.
Like we've played some dudes, and
they have.
And so they are battle tested. Not everything's come out to their favor. So this is a tough matchup for the 1 seed.
It really is. It's an intriguing one. The last time the schools played was in 2014. Seneca won that 13-7. On the bottom half of that bracket, Camden High 8-1, undefeated in the state, the 2 seed, hosts Cedar Creek, the 6 seed, who's 4-6. Friday at 6 p.m. The Panthers paced at Nottingham, 41-0. Deontay Ruffin threw for 179, 3 touchdowns. He ran for 2 more, just 5-touchdown effort, ho-hum for Mr. Ruffin. Azir Lee, Dylan Say, James Hurd all forced fumbles for that stellar defense. Israel Clark-White had an interception. Look, man, this team, James Hurd has 12 sacks on the year. This team defensively has been so stout and so good and opportunistic. We mentioned it on my Hats Off podcast on Sunday, how good they've been. They're going to welcome a Cedar Creek team that won the Creek Battle 28-7 on Friday night. They were down 7-0 after a blocked punt return on the road. They scored 28 consecutive points. Billy Smith played great, 13-22 for 200 yards, 2 scores. He threw them to Zaire Pilgrim and Aleem Parks. Billy also ran for a touchdown. Justin Castillo had an interception and a rushing touchdown. The last time they played, 2021, Cedar Creek won 27-8. A lot of history here. This should be a good one, Mac, at Farnham Park, huh?
Oh, yeah. And it's always, look, we talk about places to play. I mean, again, an 8-1 Camden High and 4-6. I mean, you get a little that house money team, nothing to lose, et cetera, et cetera. But Camden's just been, you wonder if Cedar Creek had their emotional big win last week. Can they bump it again, right? Can you bump it again for next week or for the upcoming week in Camden High? That first quarter is so important, right? I mean, Camden's going to be, they're going to be bumping, ready to go. So you have to stay in the game. The longer, like I said, if that underdog wants to hang, they got to, coming back from 2 or 3 scores is tough. Camden, they're going to play defense. They can lock you down too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I like both those semifinal games. I think they're both going to be mighty interesting and fan favorites, right? Games that fans would jump out and see. Undefeated Seneca hosting Highland Friday at 7, and then Camden, unbeaten in the state of New Jersey, hosting Cedar Creek Friday at 6. Mac, do you have a soapbox?
A little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Let's do it. The soapbox is back.
It's back on tape.
On tape.
Yeah.
Means we could censor this if we have to.
If you mean edit?
Yeah.
Censor. Like if
Censor
I
or
drop
edit.
football, sports, this is driving me nuts when I hear. Look, I'm a parent of a player too, and not just football. I hear other sports go, "Oh, we're playing in this situation. This one's just for fun, right?" And then this one, this is all for fun. Right. And if the upper levels, the NFL, Major League Baseball, whatever you want to say, I understand that these guys are feeding their families by playing a professional sport.
Yeah.
But the way to play a sport properly, in my opinion, is having fun.
Right.
And having fun means, listen, having fun doesn't mean not practicing. It doesn't mean working hard. Look, you work hard. You go through the process. You do all the things you need to do to have fun.
Right. Right. Winning is fun.
Winning is fun.
Performing well is fun.
I'm going to steal Nick Saban-ism again. You're either going to have the pain of disappointment or the pain of discipline.
Right.
Right? So either one, there's pain. If you don't want to try and you say, what the heck, ho-hum, and whatever. But everything's fun. Yes. It's high school. It's college football. It's pro football. It's a game. We are entertained by these guys.
Yes.
And how are we entertained by these guys? We are entertained because they're putting in the work. Mm-hmm. They're teammates of each other, and they're having fun.
Right.
In the process. Bryce Harper when he's been asked about last week's home run, it's been more about I was blessed to have the opportunity to be up there.
Right.
Not like get me up there, or I'm going to win the game, or again.
Sure.
So this is my soapbox to the kids, man. Have some fun.
Yeah,
have some fun. I don't care, 1 seed, 8 seed, go have some fun.
And know what fun is, right?
Right. Fun doesn't mean screwing around on the bus on the way there. It doesn't mean, it means you've signed up to play the game you love and to do the things the game requires and do the things you love, right? If you're a chess player, that should be fun, but you're not. There's different ways to play the game of chess. I don't know anything. I'm more of a checkers guy.
Checkmate, yeah. Yeah,
so
I'm the same way.
Right. So, have fun, enjoy the moments, enjoy the times, take it all in. We said this in the beginning of the year, but my goodness, it's when parents say to me, well, this event, a lot of time in the club world, this tournament is for fun. I go, well, then what's that one? All that. I go, this is, we're not
that
playing.
That was for serious.
This is for serious, right? We're all here to, enjoy the process, and the kids who want to continue to play will continue to play. And the coaches that recruit those kids, part of what they recruit is the passion of playing.
That's right.
And passion, to me, is a little bit having fun, or a lot of it.
That's it. Yeah.
Have fun, have passion, the love of the game. That's why we do what we do. That's why we go what we go.
I love it.
There's my soapbox. I'm
Good
done.
soapbox. I don't think we're going to have to edit or censor that. As a matter of fact, we can keep it in its entirety. We still have Group 4, Group 5, and the non-pubs, as well as the TurnersvilleJeep.com Game of the Week to preview. We'll be back right after this with all that information. Sit tight.
The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com on Route 42 in Turnersville. Turnersville Jeep is proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. TurnersvilleJeep.com has a huge inventory of Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Ram trucks, all brand new. They also have a ton of pre-owned vehicles, plus an award-winning 5-star service department. Drive a little and save a lot at TurnersvilleJeep.com. They're located on Route 42 in Turnersville, or visit TurnersvilleJeep.com. The show is also sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 2 years, the association has created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $20,000 to date to provide scholarships and help those in need. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products, who also sponsor the show. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They have built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had the opportunity to be around owner Mike Fody, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold-accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the Elite Provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up numerous Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Ricky Moriello at RE/MAX Community. If you or someone you know is looking for real estate in South Jersey, find Ricky and reach out to him. He's helped us bring this show to you each week for the last couple of years. We can't be more grateful for that. He knows where to find your real estate. Give him a ring at 609-352-9476. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Cherry Hill Kia and Cherry Hill Mitsubishi on Route 70. If you want to talk about top-notch selection and service that's the best around, take your car to either of these dealerships. You won't be disappointed. And while you're there, you could probably talk some ball too. These guys love South Jersey football. Get over to Cherry Hill Kia or Cherry Hill Mitsubishi today. Our game of the week this week is sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com. TurnersvilleJeep.com on Route 42 in Turnersville. Turnersville Jeep is proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. And Turnersville Jeep has a huge inventory of new Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Ram trucks, plus a large inventory of pre-owned vehicles. They also have an award-winning 5-star service department. Drive a little, save a lot at TurnersvilleJeep.com. They're located on Route 42 in Turnersville, or visit turnersvillejeep.com. If you take a selfie at this week's Game of the Week, before next Friday, you get a free oil change at Turnersville Jeep on Route 42.
Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Let's preview Group 4. South Jersey Group 4, top seeded Hamilton is 8-2. They welcome Shawnee, the 4 seed, 6-4, Friday at 6 p.m. In round 1, Shawnee throttled Ocean City 42-7. It was 35-7 at halftime. Joe Papa, 342 total yards, 16 of 19 passing for 234 and 3 touchdowns. He ran 17 times for 108 more and a touchdown. Jimmy Potter, 8 carries for 102 yards. Mac, what does a healthy Jimmy Potter mean for this team?
Well, healthy, all their guys.
Yeah.
Jimmy. We said last week, with the group of these seniors that they're friends. The guys like first-year quarterback Joe Papa. He could probably play any position on the field if they really wanted. They could put him at linebacker. They could put him at H-back, fullback, etc. He just is. Every week, he's getting better at being a quarterback. Got dinged up mid-season. Looked obviously really healthy against Ocean City. Again, him and Krause have starting to get a better and better connection each week. Now, and Potter was, it was like that. Those sneaky burst runs, right? Potter's going to tell you he's going to be the first one. Jimmy's not a blazer, right? Mm-hmm. But he just keeps his head down. And he's going to get yardage, and Gush and Scuderi, they're offensively, they're going to take what teams give them, and again, cliche-ish, but they're built. This is what they're built around, getting to the playoffs and doing some things. And again, as we see it with all these teams and all these sections and all this stuff, who do we see again? Hamilton, Shawnee.
Yeah, the Blue Devils pounded Hightstown in their game 48-6. Kenny Smith, 192 rush yards and 2 touchdowns on just 13 carries. He also grabbed an interception. Lucas Goeringer with a couple rush touchdowns. Kai Presley is a force on the line. He has 14 sacks on the year. He had another one in that game. Shawnee won the last matchup of these two, 34-15 last year in the first round of the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs. You're right. They always see each other, Mac, and here we go again, right? On top of that bracket, Hamilton is the 1 seed. They've had an excellent year. Their only losses were to Mainland and Delsey. Shawnee, on the other hand, got out fast, had a slump, clicking again, 3 in a row, I believe. And Hamilton, top seed, what's your reward? You get to see these guys again. Here they come. It's no secret what anybody's going to run.
Right.
It's no secret how they're going to do it. Hamilton is just trying to scratch that itch. I think in 2020 they did beat Shawnee down there.
Yes.
In one of those consolation games, but
it was COVID 2020.
But in these other playoff matchups, they have gotten the bad end of the stick.
Like I said, like Gilmore made a catch on their sideline in Ocean City. He's a big kid, junior, recruited, 6'3", 4, or 6'3.5", 6'4". The catch was soft hands. When you got we've talked about this. When you got a tight end in high school that drags, the seams, the middle, and a guy who can see them, which Papa's been doing, and it's and they're energy boost. You talk about Sam Beamer who got hurt earlier in the season for Shawnee, was ready to play against Ocean City as the game progressed. Smartly, I think. I know Sammy wanted to get on that field. I've known him a long time, and him and his, he wants. But as I'm in the stands going, all right, we don't need him. We don't. As the dad in the stand, I'm like, we don't need him.
Right.
And now he's another 2 weeks fresher, right? And so you get that energy burst and bump into their program with that kid. It's this time of year, Shawnee. Yeah. But Hamilton. They know this movie. They've seen it.
There's no question.
So
it's up to this group to stop it.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
The stats, and I was talking about Beamer earlier when I said Potter. I got him mixed up. Potter's been healthy, but it's up to this crew of Blue Devils to finally say the buck stops here, and we'll see if they can do that Friday night. Now, on the other side of things, Mac, Jackson last week beats Manalapan in a short conference game in the playoffs, first round, 10-7. They had a 77-yard interception return and a 27-yard field goal. They did not score on offense. The Jaguars advanced. They're the 3 seed. They're 7-2. If anybody from Jackson is watching this, I'm just going to say this. Your offense is going to need to score some points on Friday at Wheaton Field.
Lots.
Millville, 7-2, the 2 seeds, hosting the Jaguars, and they beat Lacey 49-6. Let's see if I can read, getting back into these days where we had the scroll of all the Millville stats. They rolled Lacey. Jacob Zamat goes over 2,000 yards for the season passing with 233 yards, 5 touchdowns. Hale, Brooks, and Levon all with 1. Dante Smith with 2. Naeem Sharp, 124 yards rushing on 7 carries. Thomas Smith III had a strip sack in the end zone. This is a pretty balanced team. They find different ways to beat you. They're in the bottom of that bracket. And even though they're in the bottom at the 2 seed, I don't think anyone would be surprised if that's the team that represents it. Either way, Jackson, you're going to have to find some offense.
Right, because Millville looks like they're playing on a Canadian football field, right?
Yeah.
It's 120 yards long. That's how they get all their yardage, and
That's right.
it's 60 yards wide because you're like, man, they're turning the corner.
Yep.
If people think they have the angles on these cats, and
they don't.
then they're watching, as we say, A's and elbows.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, look, Jackson's going to have to knuckle up and play tough defense.
Yeah, of these two, the Hamilton-Shawnee matchup sticks out as one that, if you're looking for one in this bracket to see on Friday night, that one might be a little bit more entertaining. Central Jersey Group 4.
I'll give you updates.
Yeah, give us updates. Middletown South, the 1 seed at 7-1, is hosting Winslow, the 5th seed at 5-3. Middletown South had 9 different guys run the ball for 6 total touchdowns as a team in a 42-0 blowout of Cherry Hill West in the first round. Colin Gallagher, one of their better players, 111 tackles this year and 10 sacks, had 2.5 sacks and 13 tackles against the Lions and forced a fumble. Winslow's defense stood tall on 4th and 3rd and short opportunities against Colts Neck. 16-8 on Saturday. Jamil Peterson ran for 121 and a touchdown, and Johnny Shakur caught a 4-yard touchdown. Winslow, hey, look, taking a slingshot, head to Middletown South, top seed.
Yeah, I mean, but they have they've kind of shot themselves in some games in the foot a little bit.
So.
Like, some situations if they can clean up and they can be a dynamic team. And we saw Peterson earlier. I mean, I saw him live. I mean, he's one of the better ones.
He's tough.
He's a tough kid to tackle, man. So look, this time of year, if you got a back that's tough to tackle, we all love the slashers and this, that, and the other, but you got a kid who can run downhill. You you better be Middletown South have kids who can tackle as well, but we'll see. This will be again, I don't want to say the house money, but a 5-3 Winslow going to the perennial Middleton South who does, so. It's I wouldn't put all my money on Middleton South.
Right. I don't blame you.
Right. The money line on this one.
Yeah. Mainland, the 3 seed, 8-1. Maybe they were the 2 seed. No, they were the 8 seed. That's right. 8-1. They're going to host 7-seeded Long Branch, 5-3 Friday at 6 p.m. Long Branch upset Pensauken 13-6. Pensauken came in undefeated, and they left. The season was over. It was an upset for sure. Long Branch got the job done. They now head to Mainland. And the Mustangs put up a high in points for South Jersey last week with 63 as they blasted Morristown 63-10. Jabril Mace, congratulations, broke George Landis' single-season touchdown mark, which was set in 1966 for Mainland. He scored 4 times. He ran for 154 yards. I think the total touchdown record was 23, yes. And how about J.J. Sinclair at linebacker? 12 tackles, 5 for loss. Freshman John Franchini ran for touchdown, threw for 3 more. Mainland,
touchdown record standing for 56 years.
Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy.
That's, Mainland, again, continuing to do what they've been doing. They have rolled over some teams. I talked about that Atlantic City team I saw the other night.
Did I mention?
Impressive. I like them. Mainland.
Did I
rolled them.
mention a big backs that play well in November?
Yeah.
Some guys in that coaching office tells me that says we got a big back. It plays well in November.
Give them the ball.
We've been in November with a big right. So
That's right.
If you get 8, you can do it again.
Yep.
And they got guys in that room that know if they get 8 or 7 a carry, you can do it again.
That's the end of the Group 4 previews. Group 5, South Jersey Group 5. Toms River North is the 1 seed. They are hosting Marlboro, the 4 seed. These are both Shore Conference teams. The Mariners of Toms River North cruised past Old Bridge 49-7. Quarterback Micah Ford ran for 252 yards. Marlboro came back to beat Washington Township. I was there. They won 21-17. They intercepted the Minutemen 5 times in the second half to come back and win. They had a double pass for score late that clinched the game for the Mustangs. So that will be Friday night at Toms River North.
5 picks?
Yeah.
It's tough to win with 5 picks.
Yeah, in the second half. Toms River North and Marlboro, the winner of that, will play the winner of Kingsway and Cherokee. Kingsway's a 2 seed. They'll host this one. 6 p.m. They played a couple weeks ago. Kingsway won 35-21. Here we are again. The Dragons scored 21 in the first quarter en route to a 35-6 cruise control win over Southern. Nate Mayers hit Darrell Brown Jr. for 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. 15-19 for 232 and 4 touchdowns for Mayers. Cherokee's up 24-0 at halftime against Williamstown. They rolled to a 45-14 win. Cam Birdie had a 40-yard pick six that started the scoring. He also caught a touchdown pass from Ryan Bender, who had 2 passes for 6, and he ran for 6 twice as well. Mr. Bender did. Here we go, Mac. Kingsway, Cherokee.
Well, I'm
back
first,
again.
Yeah, I know. Let's address Toms River North Marlboro first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Toms River North is really, really good. If you're following South Jersey, they are. I don't want to say they're the cream of the Group 5 crop, but that's everybody. I think they got the bullseye on them. So it'll be interesting how the whole this now Kingsway Cherokee, right? Now we get into the staffs that know each other, teams that have played each other. Kingsway won at Cherokee. Now Cherokee has to come down to Kingsway. I don't think nobody likes playing a team twice.
Right.
And nobody likes playing teams that are well coached twice, right? I mean, Coach Glatz and his guys, with his staff, it's a tough game, tough draw for Kingsway being the 2 seed, but 2-3 here, this is it. I mean, I think the winner here goes and plays North, but.
And if it's Kingsway, that's a rematch of last year's sectional final, which Kingsway won at Toms River North.
Right, and yes, that was a big win for the Kingsway program, sectional title, et cetera, for Coach Hendricks and the group. It's that'll be a fun one. I mean, there's some ones I can't be at that if there's 2 or 3. If I could, I'd be. We can't get stagger starts and can't do a 6 and then a 9.
Not quite.
No, can't do that. So, this one, it's again, this will be a little bit of a fist fight, or a lot of bit of a fist fight.
Kingsway, after they won that sectional title last year, played Hillsboro in the regional bowl game, which this year would be the state semifinals. That's not going to happen this year because Edison upended Hillsboro in Central Jersey Group 5. The 6-seeded Eagles at 7-3 will play at North Brunswick, the 2 seed, 8-1. 2 types of wins to get here. Edison upset Hillsboro 10-7, low-scoring affair. North Brunswick got past Hunterdon and Central, where defense was optional, 45-31. They played in the regular season. North Brunswick won it on September the 9th, 13-10. The winner of that game will play the winner of Lenape, the top seed in Central Jersey Group 5, and Atlantic City, the 5th seed. We talked about what Atlantic City did at Rancocas Valley in the beginning of the show. Be sure to go back and watch that. This game will be Friday at 7 in Lenape. in the first round, the Tribe pounded Freehold Township 40-0. Zaire Goffney-Fleming, 152 yards on 16 carries, 2 touchdowns, also had 68 yards receiving. 53 of them came on a touchdown catch from Jalen Mims. Michael LeMay had an interception. He does what he does, opportunistic, forces turnovers. Should be an interesting game. A little bit of a clash in styles. You know, Lenape can throw it, can air it out, but loves to run it with Goffney-Fleming this time of year. Now, Packard for Atlantic City can run it too. But when the going gets tough, Joe Lyons likes being able to throw it. He's got some talented guys outside of just Ice Cup. This is another one where Atlantic City, you know, location aside, has the house money here.
Yeah, they do. I mean, but I would say, look, you have a 7-1 Atlantic City team, right? I mean, if I'm Woj in his locker room in his week, I'm like, guys, we're a 5-4 team. We know what kind of 5-4 team they are, but you can play it back. You can play it the other way. I mean, you know, Atlantic City starts saying, hey, we go up there. They're only a 5-4 team, and you know, coach is like, guys, they. You know who they're playing. You know their last 2 games of the regular season, getting themselves ready for the playoffs. You said, Jalen can throw it. Lenape can throw it.
Yeah, they can.
But when
They've shown that.
when Zaire, when 8 is bringing it downhill, look, I'm not saying stop 8, you win, but when 8 doesn't have to rush for 200. Right. But if he gets his 140, 150.
Well, he's going to get his.
Yeah.
I think RV with Jeremiah Paula was able to run for a number of yards against Atlantic City as well. My interest in terms of a matchup for this game is LeMay and the secondary versus Lions, Ice Cup, these other guys, because those are playmakers, right? When the ball's in the vicinity of Ice Cup, he makes a play.
Well, I'd find
when
out.
it's in the vicinity of Michael LeMay, he makes a play.
Right.
So now we're talking about 50-50 balls.
Well, the nice
where,
thing, yeah.
Who knows?
Ice Cup's he's 6'1"-ish. LeMay, but then on this one, the X has the chalk in the hand last because, they're going to line up Ice Cup, and if. I'm not saying I haven't been in any rooms in a long time, but I'm gonna figure out how to get my guy on their guy.
Let me say this for LeMay. There might not be a player that doesn't play running back or quarterback in South Jersey that does more for his football team in making them win games than Michael LeMay does. Because the guy, not only does he do his job anytime he has to do it, defense, offense, special teams, whatever, he makes huge plays. How many times? I mean, when I saw him against St. Joe, he's the single high. His job is to tackle everybody. You know what he did? Tackled everybody. He was excellent, and he had a punt return. I mean, and he almost blocked the game-winning field goal. He is the Swiss Army knife of South Jersey football.
And he's having fun.
He's having fun.
You see LeMay before, he's bouncing around before a game. I mean, but Monday to Thursday, Woj does a great job, obviously, with the guys, and I know, I just, I have some, obviously, affinity towards the program. I know how they practice during the week from talking to the guys, and I know the effort and the time and they put in. And then they come out on Friday nights, and we've talked about that on this show. Now it's time to get paid, right? Now it's time to have fun. And LeMay's one of the guys that says, you know what, I'm going to get mine right now. Whether it's what does that mean? That doesn't mean get out of position. That doesn't mean not try to make unnecessary risk chances to make a play. It means make a play within your job. Like you said, when he's single high, he's making tackles, right? When the ball's in the air, he goes up and gets it, and he has opportunities on punts, kickoffs, etc., special teams, knowing that every play could make a difference in a football game. And which, when you go back and you watch a game in reverse, you can point to those 8 plays that if we would have had that differently, different outcomes. So, Lenape, good first round. Atlantic City with the opportunity to host, or Lenape now with a win would host a sectional title game And that's a really cool thing, right? Now, that goes back to that's old school, right? Sectionals the last couple of years end at home. So being able to be a higher seed and, host that sectional title game is pretty cool.
So Lenape hosts Atlantic City in the top half of that bracket. Edison travels to North Brunswick in the bottom of the bracket. And in the other Group 5 bracket, Kingsway hosts Cherokee, Toms River North hosts Marlboro. The non-public brackets came out on Sunday. Let's look at the teams we have in action. Now, for non-public B, first we'll go ahead and bring this up. They're not going to play until the next week. I think it's the 11th and the 12th. St. Joe's, the 3 seed, they'll host Montclair Immaculate on Saturday, November 12th at 1 p.m. at Buna. We'll preview that next week. And Holy Spirit is the 4 seed. They'll host St. Thomas Aquinas the night of November 11th in Absecon. Gloucester Catholic also will play at Red Bank Catholic that night. But in non-public A this week, St. Augustine is going to host St. John Vianney, the 8 seed St. Augustine. St. John Vianney's the 9 seed. That's 6 p.m. in Richland. The last time they played was in 2010, a long time ago. St. Augustine won 35-10. St. Augustine's run game with Julian Turney, 727 rush yards and 9 touchdowns since he got in the lineup. The line's been imposing their will. They've come up with big plays on defense. They've stopped the run. St. John Vianney, we saw them earlier, right? They're kind of refreshing the program. Their backup quarterback, Michael Foley, has taken the reins since the starter, Aaron Van Treese. I know this was a news topic. A lot of people had seen that he suffered a spinal cord injury in the beginning of the season. Our best thoughts to him. St. Augustine, the winner of this, will play Don Bosco Prep, the 1 seed. St. Augustine, by all accounts, in my opinion, should be able to push on through to that next round, Mac.
Oh, yeah. I think, I don't want to say, oh, my God, 100%, but I think this is a game. Mm-hmm. I was a little surprised at the 8th seed out of St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I think there was some subjectivity to the seedings in the
there is.
I mean, that's what I mean.
They have a meeting for the non-pub brackets.
There's a meeting for it. It's almost like wrestling seeds, right? I mean, you got to go in there with your. I mean, I'd like to be a fly on the wall at those, but man, if Augie's the 8th best public A, I mean, I think they're a little higher than that. But so saying that bodes well for the first round against St. John Vianney. Mm-hmm. But hey, good for you. You get to play the best in Bosco. So look at his opportunity. Augie came in here this season saying, we were on the young side. I'm not saying rebuilding, but revamps.
Uh-huh.
So get a good playoff win under your belt if you're Augie, and then again have some fun. And what's more fun than going to play number 1 seed Don Bosco? Let's go.
Right.
Iron Mikes.
Good luck to the Hermits. The 4 seed St. Joe Montvale at 5-4 is going to host Paul VI, 13th seed, Saturday at 1 p.m. Montvale's had a great year. So has Paul VI, really. I mean, Paul VI has had a nice season. They're very young. I saw Mo Keshin and company, Keishan and company, when they beat Moorestown earlier this year.
Yeah.
They're going to head up to play St. Joe Montvale. Dom Santiago, big, tall frame quarterback, 49-80 this year for 919 yards and 7 touchdowns. Gavin Bunt, 597 rush yards and 4 touchdowns. Winston Yates, 457 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. The winner of this game will play the winner of Seton Hall Prep and Pope John.
Jimmy Mullen is a dude.
Yeah.
He's
going to Virginia Tech.
To do both.
Football and wrestling.
Football and wrestling.
Which reminds you of who?
My man, Dougie Eastlick.
That's right.
If he's, hey, Chris, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about your big brother. If he's anything like Doug.
43.
Yeah. Everybody, Doug's ears are built into, Doug doesn't have a neck.
He's the man.
He just got he just looks like the football player wrestler. So saying that, Jimmy Mullen would go in to wrestle and play football at Virginia Tech. Tells you all you need to know about what's going on at Montvale. They are a good football team. I know Coach Kaderi is going to have to prepare for him. He's not a guy you just chip.
Right. Well, I mean, honestly, Mac, no offense to Jimmy Mullen, Tech has a great wrestler. He must be a great wrestler. I don't know how good a football player he is because I think the Hokies will kind of take anybody right now, the way things have been looking at my alma mater.
Listen to this guy. Come on. We're still talking Division I ACC.
I'm just kidding.
Come on. I know you're.
I'm sure he's going to be a future All-ACC player. But
Listen,
he will be a heck of a wrestler because the Hokies, they can wrestle, baby.
This is a disappointed Hokie football fan right here.
If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?
Man.
You know what I mean?
What?
Come on, guys. I can take it.
Yeah.
That's the non-pubs. Like I said, we'll talk about the B bracket, and hopefully we'll be talking about those A bracket advancements as well from South Jersey. The TurnersvilleJeep.com game of the week, we've already covered all the games. So we've already previewed them. We don't need to go in depth on this, but it was a difficult choice. There are a lot of excellent atmospheres. You're looking at Woodstown, Farnham Park. You look at Lenape. You look at Kingsway against Cherokee. There's a lot to pick from, right? And I am going to Seneca. I'm going down to the farm, Tabernacle. Here I come. Seneca hosting Highland, game of the week.
Bring your breadcrumbs because
Bring my breadcrumbs.
You're in the forest there, and hopefully it's not rut season because you got to be careful with the deer crossing 206 and down there and Carrazza Boulevard. I'm not kidding.
Here's the question: does the golden fedora get put on hold, or
Shalik?
Oh, that's Shalik.
That's
I got
Shalik.
it mixed up.
Shalik, the golden fedora bowed out last
The golden fedora is now on the hook. They're on the hook.
I apologize. I get the colors mixed up.
But you got the Golden Eagles playing in the home stadium, home playoff game number 2. You know,
against a longtime friend,
and foe, Coach Leary. You always love playing against. You love to beat your friends if you can.
Well, and we talked about this on Sunday, Rod and I, that these two teams had entirely different paths. Remember, we talked to Coach Leary before the season. They had all these high expectations, and it's been rocky getting here, but here they are.
Yeah,
Seneca had, outside of Tabernacle, to my knowledge, no expectations from you or I or anybody else to say this team could go undefeated. Here they are undefeated. And we'll see. I mean, it's been two different paths, two great guys in Coach Leary and Coach Fish, two favorites, friends of the program. I'm excited to see it. This will be the first Seneca game I've covered.
Ever?
Wow,
you're gonna get the why don't you get there 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. and you can catch the drum line on the kids walking into school on Friday morning. They get it going early there.
Yeah, it's an ROTC program.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked if the parking lot starts to get filled up pretty early for Seneca.
Fish, save me a spot, man. I'm coming out to Seneca to see the Golden Eagles.
I know. I mean, I love both these guys, Leary and Fish. And I know Fish got his secret weapon with his son over there. I know his son gives him a little bit of little how-to during those games. He looks down and says, "What are we doing here?" His son's a great kid, and I know he helps Dad out too. And Coach Leary's got his son helping him out too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Between the lines.
What, 10 to 13 passing that, 12 to 15 passing that?
Family affairs going around on this one. So it'll be a good game. Great to see both these programs getting the spotlight.
We'll be back at a usual time next week, I think, unless we have to deal with a World Series parade or something, which we hope we do.
Well, you can forget about being here if it's the parade.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's over.
No, that's not going to happen. We'll do it live from the parade. How great would that be?
Whatever your sponsors want to send you, let me know.
Sectional finals next week will be home sites. Remember that. Then the next week, the state semifinals for all these brackets we reviewed, the public schools, will be at Cherokee over the weekend. But we'll be back, normal time, we hope, be live. We missed that this week with the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. We'll be back Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for the Hats Off podcast. Studio B, D2 Sports Network. Rod is the man. He's taking care of us, even off schedule, no matter what it takes. He is here, and he's the man. So we thank him. We thank Sully. We thank everybody else, the sponsors. If you're a South Jersey school playing an out-of-area school this week,
good luck.
Bring back the win.
Take care of business. And just so everybody knows,
bring back the win.
We are 2 hours and 13 minutes away from first pitch down at Citizens Bank Park as Ranger Suarez will go do his thing.
Yeah, and we got to get there, both of us.
I love Ranger Suarez. I love the guy.
Yeah, you gotta like him.
How about the play? He was very Cliff Lee-esque the other night.
Flipped it in his
Flip, bang, boom.
throw him out.
I bet you the guy can hit too if he needed to.
Well, he's the Lone Ranger tonight. Good luck, Mr. Suarez.
We're going to score some runs. We're going to score some runs.
All right.
We're going to score runs.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Playoff season.
Yo, congratulations, Brett, my son. Named Sergeant, promoted. Great to see him this past week. Congratulations on the promotion.
And happy birthday to my mom.
Happy birthday to his mom.
We'll see you guys next
Tripp's
week.
mom. Mrs. Tripp, happy birthday.